I am the poster child for what happens when you are true to yourself at times. And you know what? I'm okay with it now.
Sage Steele is one of the most respected broadcasters in sports. On August 14th this year, she walked away from a 16-year career at ESPN. More on that soon. For Sage, sports isn't just a career, it's a way of life.
Tell me about this one, you and your dad golfing.
You know, I don't know how I'm not an incredible golfer after this setup. This is in Monterey, California. He always was so athletic, and I remember him exercising and staying super active, and that's why us kids are as well. But I love this. I was so focused, and I always wanted him, you know?
You wanted his support?
Oh my gosh, and I got it.
Gary Steele was a legendary two-sport athlete at West Point, starring in track and field and football, where he became the first African-American to play for the Black Knights. His daughter is as impressed with his humility as his athletic accolades.
I learned about how he was recruited and how he was choosing in the mid-'60s between West Point, which was in its heyday back then, and Penn State and Joe Paterno. And I was like, Joe Paterno recruited you, Dad? And he was like, Ugh. Like, I wanted to be a sportscaster since I was a little kid. Why haven't you told me these things about you? And he just never wanted it to be about him.
As a pioneer, Gary is familiar with racism. However, none was as personal as the rejection from his future in-laws.
My parents have been married for 52 years. But when I think about how it began and how my mother in particular had to choose between the man she loved and her family. So her strength I'm in awe of. And that is why when I have my stuff, I think back to that and to my parents and the love that they have, obviously, from day one. And that's strength. And that's toughness.
Sage's Army brat upbringing afforded her a unique and broad view on life.
It must give you a very interesting perspective on race, culture, and people.
Yes, yes. Black, white, Asian, it didn't matter. It was a beautiful upbringing.
In 1995, she graduated from Indiana University and began a sports broadcasting career in various markets around the country.
Sage Steele, disturbing news out of...
We see a lot of women in sports broadcasting now, but when you started, you were on the front end of that.
So being different made me good at that very early in my career. And so I'm very grateful for being uncomfortable because it made me better at my job. And I think in hindsight that they saw that I did my homework and came prepared with thoughtful questions.
In 2007, Sage was hired by ESPN and quickly became a prominent figure in sports broadcasting, hosting ESPN's flagship show, SportsCenter. In 2021, Sage appeared on a podcast and expressed conservative opinions on a variety of topics, including the COVID vaccine, sexuality, and race. She was promptly suspended by ESPN.
How disappointed were you or heartbroken were you then when you found out that you had been suspended?
I was devastated. I felt like I disappointed people just by being me, though.
During her suspension, Sage contracted a bad case of COVID.
And I got up to take a quick shower and go to this was like 3 in the morning, and I fell over. And I realized that if I fall over in the shower and hit my head, no one will find me because I was alone. And so I just got back in bed and I just prayed that I'd wake up and that my heart would stop racing. I'll just never forget that time being stuck in bed and reading some of the things that were being said and never feeling so alone in my life, ever. I woke up the next day, thank God, and just was like, at that point, trying to stay off my phone because the hate was pretty real, the negativity.
The negativity she received online was in the form of threats to her life and to her family.
I'll be honest and say that it hit me quite hard, and there were times when I was in tears over what was said. When there were death threats, when People threatened to rape my daughters, but my faith had got me through the prior couple of years, and I knew that because I woke up that morning, God had a plan for me. So that helped me just keep pushing.
In Matthew 5:44, Jesus talks about praying for your enemies and forgiving those who persecute you. You have some bracelets on your wrist that talk about grace.
I really do try to pray for those who have not been so nice. The word grace has been everything to me. I can look down at these bracelets and I get this piece about me, and I'll just touch it real quick. And I literally know that I'm not alone. God has proven that to me a million times over, even when I wasn't paying attention. But I know he has been with me throughout this entire process.
Sage's 2-year legal battle with ESPN ended in August. She says her future is in God's hands and is telling her story in hopes of helping others.
All I've ever wanted is conversation. I love to talk, way too much. And I've enjoyed that. To me, that's why I've loved this profession, is to be able to talk and to get to know people.
Sage, when I talk to you, what I see is a very relatable person who is just like me or just like anybody else, who has been prepared in various steps throughout her life for this.
Yeah, everybody's got something. And despite the facades that sometimes we intentionally put out there or inadvertently, everybody is a human being first with pain and struggles. And I want to share mine in hopes that will make others feel more comfortable sharing theirs.